A man was chased and then shot and killed.
These groups, I won't name them, they know who they are. We're not going to tolerate any retribution, any revenge.
3 deadly shootings happening across our area overnight.
A man was found dead in a garage on Jacksonville's south side this morning.
New at 5, a man in his early 20s is in the hospital right now following a shooting in northwest Jacksonville. JSO says he was hit up to 4 times in the shoulder and back.
I talked to a witness who told me the car came from this direction and then slammed right into this building.
Breaking news. A man is dead in an early morning shooting.
Officers say that they were called out to the Lakeshore area just after 5 this morning, and he came reporting off of a gunfire report.
Overnight, one person is in stable condition. This is after being shot in what the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is calling a drive-by shooting.
One man is dead after he was shot and then crashed his car into a building on Myrtle Avenue last night in Jacksonville.
Tonight, police investigating after a man crashed his car into this building, then died from a...
Charles Jones, the man we all know as Foolio, was vilely murdered while enjoying his birthday. This would come as no surprise, as Foolio was actively in the streets and known for making these records about his dead ops. It wouldn't be long before the streets of Jacksonville would be flooded with retaliatory blood, all behind the death of Foolio. But what the internet is not aware of is the multiple murders that will begin to play immediately after the death of Foolio.
3 deadly shootings happening across our area overnight. At 11:10 p.m., a man shot multiple times at an Orange Park apartment complex, died. And at 11:50 p.m., a woman was found suffering from gunshot wounds in downtown Jacksonville. And at 1:05 this morning, a man shot and killed at the corner of 4th Street North and 6th Avenue North in Jacksonville Beach. Tonight, police are looking for 2 suspects.
2 men were shot in 2 different 4th of July Jacksonville shootings Thursday night, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The shootings took place about 2.5 hours apart from each other. The shooting that took place on the east side happened at approximately 8:35 p.m. when JSO police responded to the 1200 block of Sparing Street in reference to a drive-by shooting. The initial investigation showed that the victim and 2 other individuals were sitting in a car when an unknown individual fired multiple shots in their direction from a white sedan.
Developing overnight, one person is in stable condition. This is after being shot in what the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is calling a drive-by shooting on the city's north side. JSO says this happened right at about 8:30 last night on Sparing Street. They say the victim was sitting in a car with 2 other people when someone else shot toward the vehicle from a white sedan. That sedan then drove away. JSO tells us the victim was taken to the hospital after being shot in the leg. JSO spoke to witnesses and looked for surveillance video, but if you have any helpful information, you're urged to please give Crime Stoppers a call.
Not long after that, officers went to a shooting on the south side around 11:00 p.m. Officers responded to Pont Avenue in Augustine Road in reference to a shooting. When police arrived, they found a man who was suffering from a gunshot wound to his torso. 2 days later, on July 6th, right after midnight, police got reports of a car that had crashed into a building at the intersection of Myrtle Avenue and 8th Street. When cops arrived, they found a man suffering from gunshot wounds while still at 8th Street. When police arrived, they found a man suffering from gunshot wounds while still in his car. The man would later die.
Tonight, police investigating after a man crashed his car into this building, then died from a gunshot wound. This happened on Myrtle Avenue in the Durkeeville area. On your side, Zatia Collins spoke with a man who says he saw it all happen.
It happened here on Myrtle Avenue just after midnight. I talked to a witness who told me the car came from this direction and then slammed right into this building. It's been taped up now, but earlier you could see the window had been smashed out and the metal framing bent inwards.
I was standing over there and I seen the car just hit.
The driver, a man according to police. The witness, who goes by Houston, says when he saw the crash, he went over to help.
And I grabbed him and I pulled him out from the passenger side. I brought him to the floor. I try to keep him as conscious as I can. The police came.
Investigators say when they found the man, they noticed he had been shot. He was taken to the hospital where he died. It's unclear what led up to the shooting or where the shooting took place.
Now, JSO is investigating this incident along with their partners at the medical examiner's office and the state attorney's office. Reporting in Jacksonville, Tia Collins, First Coast News, on your side.
A crime scene taking up this whole parking lot behind me. This is a Holiday Inn right across the street from USF. Here, 4 people were shot and so were 2 cars. Police say they are also now a part of the investigation. A birthday celebration that took a turn for the worst. Now cars filled with bullet holes are at the center of an investigation to find out why famous rapper Foolio, who just turned 26, was shot dead early this morning.
At this point, it's part of the investigation, but it seems that they might have been coming here to the hotel to get a room.
After a social media post from Foolio said he and his friends were kicked out of an Airbnb. They found themselves at this Holiday Inn where hotel guests like Jeremiah Claypool had to be escorted to and from their rooms post gunshots.
I only heard one, they woke me up, but apparently there were more than that.
Police say they got the call at 4:40 this morning. Foolio, whose real name is Charles Jones, was confirmed dead at the scene while 3 other shooting victims were taken to the hospital. No one has been arrested in connection to this shooting.
You know, we always say it, but in cases like this, it really does make the difference. If you saw something, if you heard something, any little detail can help us figure out what happened here this morning.
For now, investigators will lean on federal agencies and work with hotel surveillance video to help determine how the shooting events took place. Also, interviews from witnesses like Claypool.
We're still going to stay. We're going to find another hotel.
As we continue to find out more information, be sure to download our free WFLA app for the latest updates. Reporting in Temple Terrace, Chloe Sparks, 8 on your side.
However, before this would all unfold, on June 29th, a man was shot and killed in the parking lot of an apartment building in Orange Park. The deputy said the shooting happened around 11:10 p.m. at the Low Flats on Wells Music Road. The victim, named as 29-year-old Darius Bill, was in the parking lot of the apartment complex when he was shot multiple times by an unknown suspect. Bill died at the scene. Investigators think the man was the victim of an attack fused by gang wars and possible retaliation for Foolio. There seemed to be no end in sight even after Jacksonville law enforcement vowed to put a stop to the rash of violence.
At 5, a man in his early 20s is in the hospital right now following a shooting in northwest Jacksonville. JSO says he was hit up to 4 times in the shoulder and back on Pierce Street. Police are looking for a gray or purple car in connection with that shooting. The victim's condition is not being revealed right now.
Early morning shooting.
Officers say that they were called out to the Lakeshore area just after 5 this morning, and it came reporting off of a gunfire report that's off of Appleton Ave and Rita Street. Here's a map to give you an idea there, and we find Action News Jack's Jessica Barreto live from that area. And Jessica, it's still active there. Police say the suspect is on the loose.
It is still an active scene out here, and the suspect still has not been found. Now, I want to show you what the scene looks like behind me. Still a lot of deputies out here. JSO has been out here for more than 4 hours at this point. There are also homicide detectives here. Now, a man is dead after a shooting here off Appleton Avenue and Rita Street in the Lakeshore area that's on the west side. Now, at 5:20 this morning, JSO says they received several 911 calls after several people heard gunshots. They found the victim in the grass with gunshot wounds. He passed away. They still have not confirmed his identity. Now, witnesses say they also saw a man running from this area, but there is still no concrete ties from that man to this scene. However, JSO says they're not sure if this was a targeted incident, but say there could still be a threat to this community until that suspect is found. If you have any information on this incident, you are urged to call JSO. That number 904-630-0500. You can also call Crime Stoppers. That number 1-866-845-877. But JSO is still out here canvassing the neighborhood, trying to talk to neighbors and figure out what happened this morning. Reporting live from the west side, Jessica Barreto, Fox 30, Action News Jack.
In a press conference given after the death of Foolio, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office claimed to have leads on Foolio's murder, saying that we're working on soon making an arrest.
If I may generically ask a question about something else.
Yep.
Generically speaking, what are your thoughts about the glorification of violence on social media, gangs, the detriment to the community, the danger that it poses?
I mean, unfortunately, I think young people think this is a game. And, there'll be comments about this in the statement that I make, and they make it like it's a video game. It's not. This is real life. So he has a mother, he has parents, siblings, probably friends, and they have to deal with these kind of losses, and it's unfortunate. Now the next thing is these groups. I won't name them. They know who they are. We're not going to tolerate any retribution, any revenge. We're going to watch. We're going to be around, paying attention to what's going on. But it's unfortunate. It should never happen to our kids. And I've never seen so much devaluing of human life. It's like it's fun, and they talk about it in rap videos and songs, and it's just doesn't make any sense.
What's your message to anyone who might be a younger person who might be considering this kind of love on the streets?
Well, this is not a game. Is my message. This is not something that we're going to tolerate around town. I think the media, I think the citizens of Jacksonville, I think everyone feels the same way. It's not something that's okay. This is not something we're going to tolerate, and we're going to pay very close attention. So don't get involved. Stay away from the nonsense.
I've heard some people concerned about safety here in Jacksonville. Is that a viable concern?
So I can tell you that I made several phone calls and discussions with the undersheriff and staff members about paying very close attention to certain groups that I know are clashing with one another. They know who they are. And we are going to pay very close attention to make sure that, we're not going to allow you to just arbitrarily run around and spray bullets into people's houses and cars. And it's just something that we're going to pay very close attention to. And I want the public to be vigilant. Pay attention when you see these things going on. Look, the social media world is called meta for a reason. It's make-believe. It's not real life. Real life is what happened to Foolio yesterday. And that happens, and it should not happen. So we're going to be paying very, very close attention.
__ to try to appease the people of a community riddled with murders, all being pulled off by the youth of Jacksonville, with the great majority of the shooters being barely out of their teens.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Josh Cater with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit. At around 9:30 this morning, officers were dispatched to the 10,000 block of Gatewood Glen Court in reference to a deceased individual. When they arrived on scene, they locate what we believe to be an adult male deceased inside a garage. At this time, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, Crime Scene Unit, and our partners with the State Attorney's Office are currently on scene conducting the investigation. At this time, all we know is some family members came back from vacation to learn that who they believe to be their son was found deceased inside the residence. At this time, we cannot confirm that, and we'll be getting with our medical examiner's office to do so. Like I said, at this time, detectives are currently in the neighborhood, going door to door looking for any witnesses and/or video surveillance that could help us figure out what actually happened. With that being said, we do not know the circumstances that are relating to this incident or the relationship of those involved. Because of this classification of the incident will be in pending status while we work with the medical examiner's office and the state attorney's office. As always, if anybody has any information that could aid us in this investigation, we're asking you to call a non-emergency number, 904-630-0500. If you wish to go through email, it's jsocrimetips@jacksheriff.org. Or as always, if you wish to remain anonymous, you can go through Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS. And I'll take a couple questions, however, I have very limited information. Well, right now we do not know exactly who it is. We're only going off what the parents believe, that there should have been an adult male that lived there. So they're assuming that it is him, but due to the fact that decomp stages and working with the medical examiner's office to give 100% identification.
Is there any sign of forced entry into the house? How do you come about?
Right now there is some things that we believe to be foul plays involved. However, we're not ready to release that information because it could hinder the investigation. As I said a second ago, the family came home from a vacation and found the individual in the garage who they believe to be their child. Right now, we are still working on a search warrant to get into the residence, and we're still working to get up to that point, collecting evidence where we can call the medical examiner's office. So I do not have that information.
Do you have a rough age?